All right, I'm recording in this new meeting. Nobody had any questions about the test. So I will move on and start talking about arrays. So I'm going to start a new page. I'll call it array intro.html. An exclamation point, get my page. The title is array intro, header, array intro. Okay. And let's start off with a script, and then we'll make some page eventually. Okay, so the script is, so an array, we've been playing so far with a simple variable, which takes on a single value. It may have been a number, like an age. It might have been a string, like a name, but it had just one value at a time. That value can change, hence the name variable, but it only has one value at a time. Now we want to move into something called an array, and this is a bunch of related values, and then we can sort of access them in different ways. Okay, so let's just start with a let, and then we're going to give it a name, some, let's say you are going to write your array of courses, and then that's wrong. And then you write a square bracket. There's more than one way to, as we say, declare and initialize an array. I was sort of half of one, half the other. But the more modern way is square brackets. And then you put your values with commas between them. The name of a course, so I'm going here, CSC 230. Then the next course might be CSC 230. And then you might have your FYS, I don't know, 100, how that is. And maybe you have a religion, and maybe you're in a writing course, I don't know. Okay, so instead of saying course 1, course 2, course 3 with having 5 different names for my courses, I put them, since they're all related and they're going to be handled similarly, I group them into this thing called an array. Right. Now, if you want to access one of these, let's do the first one, CSC 230, then you will use the name of the array and its position within the array, or what we call its index, and the indices start at 0. In computer science, we start counting at 0. So CSC 230 in this list, this array, is courses 0. Now, some people will always call it courses with an S on the end to emphasize that it is plural. And that helps when you're referring to the whole bunch of them. And then when you refer to one of them, it's courses 0. And some people will make it always plural. Some people will not, and I'm not consistent. So I'm sorry about that. I'm not consistent. So don't assume that you know that it is, always people or phone numbers, plural. Always, you have to be consistent with whatever you chose and do it. So you have to be consistent within a program or it doesn't work. But I am not consistent program to program. And I won't be, and I'm way too old to learn. So, and some people will even go much farther and they'll put like ARR in the names of their variables to sort of announce that it is an array. I announce on my, when I'm making an interface, I announce what kind of a thing it is. I say SP for spans and div for divs, because when you sort of become a more sophisticated programmer, the page and the code become separate files. So you want the reminder in your code file what type of element that other thing is. I don't usually have a problem in my code forgetting that variable was an array or not. That's not a problem I usually have, so that's not a nomenclature I needed to adopt, but you might see it if you get examples off the web. Okay. If I just want to access an individual course, do you want me to do an alert or do you want me to do a console log? Console log, okay. So if I want to show a course, then I'm doing a console log. I'm picking the name of my array courses, and then I have to pick the index of the course I want. Which course do you want? The first one. So then it will be 0. Okay, so let me save it. And let me run it. There's nothing on the page except the header, and then we're going to have to open up the console. And so right click, inspect. There's the console, something about my favorite icon. I'll refresh, that will go away. And there is in the console CSC 230. That was courses 0. So again, this is this concept of array. I have a collection of related things, in this case, names of courses. Then I access them by their array. So courses 0 is the first one. Courses 3 will be the 4th one. Again, we start at 0. So now the 4th one was religion 100. Okay. Now here's the thing that is sort of reviewy, quasi-reviewy for tomorrow. I want to next loop through all my courses. Tell me what to do. Or let I equal 0.
Less than courses dot length.
Courses dot length. That is right. So we need to know our limit of courses. There is a property of the courses, which is its length. We have to worry about going one too few times or one too many times. That was one of your vocabulary words, an oboe, and off by 1 error, which happens a lot in loops. And since we start at 0, I have 5 courses and my indices are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I want to go up to, but not including length. So he said less than length, and that was correct. I don't want to go up to and including length. I don't want less than or equal to length, because then it will be looking for courses 5, which doesn't exist, and I'll get an error.
I plus plus.
I plus plus. And then I want to console log. I'm just going to, can't spell console. And then I want the names of the courses. So we know that to get the individual pieces of the course, it's courses, square bracket, and the index. And now in a loop, the index will be the I. All right, and let's see how that's looking. So now I have in the beginning religion, that was my individual, just taking out one based on knowing it's the index. And then I have the other ones. Okay. So we can deal with individual elements of our array. A given one of the pieces is known as an element. So I can get an element of my array by knowing its index. And then I can use the name of the array, square bracket, and that particular index. And then if I want all of the elements of the array, then I can loop over them. All right. And you'll be happy now that I have arrays later in the week, we can shuffle a deck of cards and play a proper game. So we can really start gambling. Yes.
Yeah. So, Yellow is this script. Like if we just write the number, is program smart enough to recognize it is a number or it is string?
In my list up here, without let's do let's have what's called a parallel array of credits. I don't know if I'm answering your question or not, but we'll see. So we can say these courses have credits. The first one has 4 credits. And then that has 3 credits and 3 credits. I think everything else is 3. We're going to say yes. So this is known. This was an array of courses. Can't spell. Array of courses. And this is a parallel array of course credits. And let's do something stupid, like to see if it's a number. And the only problem with a number is addition, right? Everything, any other thing that is like, might be confused between a number and a string would, if you do division, if you do multiplication, it figures it out. The thing that we will trip over if it doesn't recognize them as numbers is addition. So I can add something to the credits, like plus a half or something like that, and see if it figures it out mathematically or if it does a concatenation.
So, like I can mix the strings and integer, or array string or
It's a good question. Right now, my arrays, a given array right now has all of the same type. So my courses are all strings. My credits are all numbers. Within my parallel arrays, I can mix types. Can I mix different types? Can I have an array that was CSC 230, 4? I believe the answer is yes, but we can do that in a minute if we want to really test it. That is an unusual thing to do. I think it's possible. I think it's an unusual thing to do. And if you're mixing types, it might not be a proper array, and it might be better as the subject that comes after that, which is objects. So if you want like all the information that's related to a course gathered together, right now I'm putting different things 230 and 240 different courses together. But if you wanted to put all the information about one course together, then you want what's known as an object. We're not there yet. You're always like 3 weeks ahead of me.
How about like nested?
That's two-dimensional arrays, arrays within arrays. That is possible, yes. So I'll just say,
With matrix. It's called a matrix.
I don't know what it's called in JavaScript, but it could be called a matrix in math, yes. All right. So we're getting me far afield here, asking me about objects and two-dimensional arrays. Let's just deal with parallel arrays for right now. So let's say here is the course. I'm gonna comment this one out. I'm looping through my courses. I'm gonna give myself some space here, and then I'm gonna add the credits. Not square bracket. And I'm gonna add a 1 to all of them just to see if I get 41 or if I get 4. Or sorry, I have a 4 credit course. I'm going to add 1 to it and see if I get a 5 or if I get a 41. So I'm just testing this issue of does it understand it's a number? If I put quotes around them, then they would probably definitely be thought of as strings. But without the string, without the quotes, I think it's going to understand it's a number and do addition. It concatenated. You're ahead of me. All right. It concatenated. All right. All right. So even though it was just a number here, and now maybe I know why, because it's part of a longer string. So it started saying, I'm a string, I'm a string, I'm a string. Let's try to make it do this earlier and independently by putting parentheses. Does that fix it? And you're probably ahead of me as usual. Yes, that fixed it. So on their own, it understands this array as numbers. So let me put, in case somebody comes looking back at this program after I've adding a 1 to test type. Needed parentheses to force addition first. Okay. So I was already, without the parentheses, it was already in like string mode because of the name of the course. And then, so it was just going string, string, it added string and just kept it as string, string, string. But with the parentheses, it forced to do that plus first. And then in that isolated situation, it understood them as numbers. All right. What else do you want to do? Let's put those courses into a select. So let's start putting them somewhere on the page. So I'm going to put them in a select, and I'm going to show them the name of the course. And but I want all the information if they choose a course. This is practically pretty much the homework that you have to do for next week. So let's give it a try. So I want to now, do I want to have a select with no options on the page, or do I want to make the select from complete scratch? Say again? Have a select without options. Okay. So here is my select. I'm going to give it an ID. I'm going to call it cell courses. And I got my quotes in the wrong place. So I have a select, but it's empty. And we are going to use, now I have my script at the end of the page. So I can just start to write code that will put the courses in the as options of the select, or I can put it in the bodies on load. He likes the bodies on load. So I'm going to call a function populate in the bodies on load. So now I need to write that function. Function populate, open close parentheses, open close curly. What am I going to do? I'm going to loop through my courses. I'm going to create options. I'm going to set the properties of the options. I'm going to add them to my select. I'm going to steal the for loop because it's the same for loop. And I'm going to format. Okay. So, all right. So if you have questions, ask me. Otherwise, client back there. He's still talking. All right. So we need to, I need to grab the select off the page, create some options. So I'm going to have a variable for my select, which I'm going to call my select. Get element by ID. And cell courses, okay. Save it. And let me get really explored, make a little bit more room. Okay. So there I have my select. I'm going to loop. I have this loop. It's the same loop as before because it's the loop over the array, and the loop over the array is the loop over the array. And I want to, in this loop, I want to create an option. Remind me. Say again? Create element. That's correct, but let my option equal document.create element. And we are creating an option. So an option is an element. We didn't have it, so we are creating it. And then the option has two things. It has the name, or what the name, that's the wrong thing. It has what the user sees. You can call that the text, or you can call it the inner HTML. They're just two names for the same thing. So my option, I'm going to call it text. I usually call it text, but I saw somebody use inner HTML, which makes sense and works. And I want the name of the course. Tell me what to type.
Yes. CSC 230.
Tell me what to, I don't want to.
Course I.
Courses I. That's how I will talk about it. Courses I. When I'm talking to you about arrays, I will say courses I. I won't tell you square bracket. Maybe the first time I will say square bracket, but once you get used to arrays, I'll just be saying like courses I. Or the ith course. But I won't, it's not a typing class. I won't be telling you every time exactly what to type. But if I say courses I, that's what I mean. Courses, square bracket I, close square bracket. What's the other thing? The other part of an option is the value. And now, when I have an array, and when the person chooses religion 100 from the list, I want to have access to religion 100, and then it's a 3-credit course. I want access to 2 different arrays, to my 2 parallel arrays. But the idea of a parallel array is that they share the index, that religion and 3 credits are related because they have the same position in the 2 arrays. So the most useful value is the index. Most useful thing here for us to have as the value is what you use behind the scenes, what is most useful to you. And the thing, if you were working with arrays, the thing most useful to you is the index. So that's how you process arrays. That's how you get different things. That's how you get the things out of the array, is by the index. And so there it is. You remember these problems that I gave you that were on, say, test 1, where there were like 2 things. It was like the Uber. So you had to choose like what kind of car. And you wanted to say that it was a luxury. And then you also wanted to know that here was the factor for luxury. You wanted 2 pieces of information. And there I was forcing you into some kind of if. Like, oh, if it's luxury, then here's the factor. We don't have to do that anymore with parallel arrays. You have the option you get is the index, and then you will know the name of the kind of car from the index, and you will know the factor from the parallel array with the same index. So the index will be the most useful thing and will save you from a bunch of ifs. All right. Let's see if it loads up, and then we'll try to do something with this array. So there's my drop down with nothing in it. Because why? I didn't put the options in my select. How do I do that? My select dot append child. Parentheses.
Yeah.
So I needed to add the options to the my select. I had created them and done nothing with them. Now I put them on my page. There they are. All right. Now let's do something with them. So I should have this select. Should have an onchange. We want to do something when they change. And what do I want to do? I'll just say show course. But it will be course information. It will be the credits. It'll be the name of the course. It'll be any other thing we happen to throw into there. So that was a function. Then I'm responsible for show course. So here I am still in the script, but outside of any other function. I am typing function, show courses, curly, curly. What do I want to do? What do I almost always do when I have a select and I have the change event, the function that handles the change of a select? What's that? Clear out any other old stuff I have? Okay, that is true. I often do that. So let's say I had here under the select in the div, I have a div info. So I have some thing with some information. Let me put I don't know, dash 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 in there to begin with. And he says, what do I usually do? I usually clear. That is true. I often do clear. So document get element by ID. What did I call it? Div info. Divs have inner HTML. And I tend to clear them by setting the inner HTML to quote, quote. So if the person chooses the course, we're clearing out anything, old information that might have been around. And what? What else do we tend to do when we have a function that handles the change event of a select? You get what they selected. And we get the value. And what is the value in this case?
Our credits.
It's not our credits. What is the value in our array? It's an index, exactly. So what do you want to call it? Let course index equal document equal document get element by array, or sorry, get element by ID. What was it called? Cell courses. And I want the value. And then, so now I have the index, and what do I want to do? Let's just alert it for a second. Before we do anything else, let's alert course index. Don't like to write too much without checking, so let's check that. Okay. So here we are. I have my dash, dash, dash. I'm going to change to religion. Religion was index 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. It was the 4th course religion. So it was index 3. That was the value that we gave the option for religion. And then it also cleared out. What if I chose the FYS? That is 2. So we're not looking at the credits. Religion was a 3-credit course, that's true, but that 3 was its index. And then the FYS is also a 3-credit course, but the index is 2. So the value that we got was the 2. Or the value that we got was the index, which in that last example of the FYS was 2, which made it the 3rd course, 0, 1, 2. Okay. So now what do we want to do? We want to display the name of the course and the credits for the course in the div. So this was the clear out. I'm grabbing that. And now I'm going to put down some new stuff. And what am I going to put down? The name of the course. I want the name of the course. Courses index. Very good. You get so used to, again, this may be your first time with arrays, but you get so used to looping over arrays that your brain automatically thinks I. But I is the counting variable when we're sort of looping through all of them. Right now we're dealing with a course, and that single course has the index of courses index, or course index, or course. I called it course index, not courses index. So that would have been an error on my part in course index. Here we go. So let's see if that much works. If it puts that in the inner HTML, then we'll add to it if that worked. Like to build up. So there was 2 and there's the FYS. Okay, so we got the name of the course into the div, but I want to add what? I want to add has, and now I want to say the number of credits.
Same. Just instead of courses, we write credits.
It's the same thing, but the other array. So it's the credits array with course index, This is the nature again of the parallel arrays, the two arrays sharing the same index. And then we'll say credits. And so here's the FYS. And it says the FYS has 3 credits. CSC 230 has 4 credits. I want one more thing. I want, when we start, for it to tell me, like, act as though the person has chosen CSC 230. I want, when the page starts, I want it to act like I've chosen 230, like the user has chosen 230.
Unload, yeah.
Just write it.
You know.
I know it's, I know it. No, we already have populate, so we would add it here after we put things in. I can't choose anything until they're there. And what do I want to do here? I could put this code down here and know that course index was 0.
Let's say that one of them are solved.
So I want the program to pretend there was an event. Pretend there was an event of what? Of my select. It uses the term dispatch an event. It's a new event. And it's a change event. So my select was one of my things. There's an event associated with that, the drop-down list, and it's a change event that we have code for. And this says pretend there was such an event, pretend there was a change event for the select. And we do that at the end of populate. I can't do it at the before populate. There's nothing to choose. I have to do it after populate. There it is. Okay. So, other than the fact that you have to change the arrays, I've just done the homework. Just done the homework other than you renaming the arrays. But that homework's not due for a week. Focus for now on the tests that are tomorrow, loops and arrays. There will be, I will not combine the loops and timers into one thing. There will be, you will get 2 sort of Word documents. If the page is complicated somehow, like if I wanted a table, but I haven't done a lot of table stuff with you guys. If there is a complicated page, then I will give you the page. So I'll give you 2 Word documents. You can do them in any order you want. I'll try to get them to be about 50 points each. And then if the page is complicated, I will give you the head start on the page. So I might give you 2 things, I might give you 3 things.
So we focus on function.
Yeah, I give you some fast throwaway points on color and headers, but the course is about JavaScript, not about web page design. But that should be what you're expecting the lab, Wednesday's lab and Friday's lab slapped together. Yes. Let me stop. Okay.